Hello, looky here. We made it through Christmas. Now we are going to do our 12 days of Christmas spinning. And boy, I almost didn't make it. I just about wasn't able to stream today, but I worked it out. I'll tell you all about it. And I am going to do the merino first, this white that I've been working on that I want to ply with two other bobbins. Let me get these. Oh man, close your eyes behind me. I shouldn't even talk about it to point it out, but man, I have not had time to do nothing as far as cleaning up my room. So these two I'm going to ply with the white. So I need a bobbin that is almost practically full of white merino. These are both merinos also. So, and I really want those bobbins empty. And it's not like I'm pushing myself to get things done by the end of the year. I, you know, I'm not even setting New Year's resolution goals or whatever that are fiber related um, for this year. I'm just it's one day, it's the next day after the day I just did something the day before. So, and we will be, that'll hit during the 12 days. So, I'll be able to say Happy New Year to you too, also. But I hope everybody had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. And I hope you got a gift that you had no idea was coming and totally surprised you. And just, it just really was exciting and made your day. That's what I hope. So, anyway, I'll talk all about my Christmas and that sort of thing. And I'm going to get spinning. So, here's my Roberta. I even got some merino pre-drafted ready to go. I look and am very bundled up. I have 3 layers of clothes on. But let me tell you, it is way better in the house than it was Monday, last week. Maybe more like Thursday. Thursday was when the bad storm came through. Friday was miserable with temperatures that hardly went above zero, and the wind chill was terrible, way, way down, 25 below or something like that. And Saturday and Sunday continued that way. We were able to get out and travel and go to my daughter's house. And we had to do that because our house had a frozen potty. Wouldn't fill with water because the pipe to it was frozen, so you had to flush it by using a bucket. And anyway, it just was not the best situation to be holding a Christmas party. And she was like, of course, just come on, come on to the house. So we had Christmas at their house in the afternoon, and then we went to see hubby's sister at her house and spent quite a few hours with her. Had a dinner and didn't get home till like 11 p.m. So anyway, we didn't open. We opened some packages Christmas morning from my friend in California. She sent me a really pretty cowl that looks hand woven. It's not. I mean, I don't think it is. It's a Macy's brand, right? Because that's where she likes to shop. So I'm not real sure how they were making those, but it looks hand woven, and I love it. It's super soft. It's a beautiful maroon and tan gold color. really pretty. So that was, I enjoyed getting that gift and wore it yesterday. It was right up my alley. You know, it just looked like something that I would have made, even though I don't weave, but it's definitely my style. Hubby and I don't exchange gifts. I did a ton of cooking Saturday, more cooking on Sunday. I took food to both places that we went to yesterday, so it was lots and lots of cooking over the Saturday and Sunday. And I was tired. I was very tired. The weather stayed cold, and I wasn't 100% sure. Our car is new. I mean, so I don't have the worries about a battery and all that kind of stuff like I would have if I was 10 years ago driving the cars that were used that I was always buying. So, it did fine. The roads were, by the time we were traveling on Sunday, the roads had been mostly scraped clear. So cold that salt didn't work, and but any of the snow that would have been blowing around like it had been on Friday and Saturday had pretty much gotten blown where it was going to get blown to, right? The winds had died down, and so there wasn't the snow blowing across the road like there had been. Tons of travel warnings, and of course, people who were flying, like some of hubby's nieces and nephews, were heading our way, trying to fly in from various states and get into Kentucky, and their flights were canceled. They didn't make it. Some made it ahead of time. Some made it while we were there, and some hadn't come yet. They had to fly to a different airport, rented a car, and were driving into Kentucky. So, yeah, it was very disruptive. Weather was terrible everywhere, coast to coast. It was terrible. One of these Christmases to remember. I always like to think of the day after Christmas as a day where I just really put my feet up and don't do nothing. Because I'm always very busy. Uh, we've always been uh, a part of hubby's family. It used to be we'd go to his mom's house where everybody would gather, and we wouldn't have to travel as much. We would just go to her house, but they're both his parents are both deceased, as are mine. So it was then became okay. We have to make arrangements with my daughter and her family, and um, for a while we just really didn't get together with his family. The siblings kind of took a break from each other after his parents' death, and his sister invited us out for this meal last night, and we went. So it was kind of nice. It was wonderful to catch back up with them, but um, they live so far away, and it was a long drive on roads I wasn't real sure about the condition, in the dark, country, not interstate. But I was stressing a little bit about the driving, but it turned out just fine. No problems. But I didn't get the day off today like I thought. When I put my feet up, I started that way, but it didn't work out that way. And I'm going to tell you all about that too. I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas, whatever you did. It's anticlimactic. It's so easy to get to the end of the day and almost like be, why'd I do all that? You know, what was this for? Kind of thing, right? You have to find your own joy in the holiday. It's not going to be handed to you, I don't think. And part of that is choosing who you want to be with. I am having so much trouble drafting this merino. It it's a top, and you think, anytime other time I spin top, I say, oh, this is a dream to spin, right? Love spinning top, blah blah blah. But not this merino. This merino doesn't want to draft. It is clumpy. It has areas where all of the staple length ends at the same time instead of being well mixed through the top so that you can get it to draft continuously nicely. It is not my favorite merino. I have more of it left up in my fiber room, which I may need to get some more depending on how full I get this bobbin with what I brought down, but I can get more. But I'm not looking forward to spinning more. I was really looking forward to streaming today and having this spinning time. It was just, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. It was real cool to run into one of the nephews who is in IT, and he asked me, he says, what you doing these days? He knows I'm retired, and I was telling him, I said, I'm doing streaming now 3 times a week. And he says, oh, on Yahoo or Twitch? I was like, oh man, it's nice talking to the generation that understands this stuff. Instead of having to explain, like I would to probably to his mother and dad, explain what it is. We reached 38 today. It's 28 now. It's going back down. Um, and it was not sunny today. It was overcast all day. It snowed a little bit earlier, but did not accumulate hardly anything. Um, and the only reason I'm saying that is that's like a break in the weather for us after the horrendously low temperatures that we had even through Christmas. And the one thing that is happening is the furnace is finally able to heat the house. Now, I live in an old house, and so it's not airtight, not well insulated, and we're quite aware that, it's an inefficient way to heat the house, um, even though it's a high efficiency furnace. But it has its job cut out for it because we have such a drafty house. And during those 3 days, we could not get the furnace to heat the house anywhere above 50 degrees. And the lowest I um, saw was the house was 39. And then it gradually went up around 44, 45 and stayed there for a long, long time. Um, and then we finally got it to 50 on Sunday. So, it was, oh my gosh, it was miserable. I did do some cooking, like I said, on Saturday, but I spent maybe an hour and a half in the kitchen, and I spent the rest of the day in bed, which is heated, right? I have a heated mattress, so I just turned that heated mattress on, and I stayed warm. What I've discovered is it's like my core gets just so cold that I don't feel like functioning at all, right? I don't feel like doing anything. Even sitting in a chair under a blanket with a cat on my lap, I don't want to expose any part of my body to the air that's in the house when it's that cold. And it just feels so good to get in that bed and finally thaw out and get my core warm back up. And I did. I spent a lot of time in bed on Saturday. Now, hubby was minding the fire. We have a fireplace. Get some more fiber here and do some drafting. Uh, we have an insert, so it's an old fireplace that has a chimney, uh, and instead of using that chimney, which we can't really feel safe about the condition of it and the safety of it, we ran the pipe up through it that is triple lined, and it's stovepipe. It's for exhausting a stove um, fire, wood burning stove. But we don't have a wood burning stove. We have what's called an insert. It sits in where you would put your wood instead of putting the wood in what would be the fireplace. You put the wood in this insert. And it has a door and it has a fan. So the door closes, you get really good draft going, and the fire stays good. And you turn this fan on, and it blows the hot air out. Now it's not like it's going to heat the house. It's going to heat the room it's in normally, um, and a little bit goes back towards the hall and the back part of the house because that's the straight on in front of it direction. But this Saturday and Sunday when we ran that fire, uh, was so cold that it couldn't even heat the living room. So he kept it going, and he hardly slept Saturday night. I mean, he dozed in a chair in front of it, and would periodically wake up enough to put wood in it. However, by the time I got up on Sunday, it had gone completely out. He had to start over again, and he was moving. He was so tired from not sleeping really well. He was moving really slow Sunday morning, and we knew we were going to leave the house. I'm sorry, this was Friday and Saturday. We kept the fire going. We did not make a fire on Sunday because that was Christmas and we knew we were leaving. We didn't want to have to build the fire and then just automatically put it out. So it was Friday and Saturday that this was happening, and that was the worst cold weather. So anyway, you know, we don't have any trouble getting wood. We live on 15 acres, and there is so much dead wood. There are many trees, and there is so much limbs and all that kind of stuff. And he has had to cut trees down that were dying, and he can make firewood out of that. So we don't have a bit of trouble getting firewood. We do have to put it on the porch and kind of let it age for a year. You know, so we have several stacks on the porch. We can't stack it outside un- um, unless we're just not going to burn it in the fireplace because it would never dry out very good. But it dries out really good when it's on the porch. And he was using that. So he, minded the fire and kept it going and watched TV. And like I said, I was doing Christmas stuff Friday wrapping packages and stuff like that. And Saturday, a little cooking, and then stayed in bed because I tried sitting out in the living room and it just wasn't, it was not warm enough. That fireplace just, usually it's so toasty and comfy. It was just horrendously cold. And we haven't had that. I don't think we've had that for 20 years, really, truly, have weather that cold. And then, like I said, Sunday we were gone most of the day. And it was getting gradually less awful cold outside, and the furnace was able to work its way up. I took it down. It was just running, running and running, running, running. So I took the thermostat down. It was at 44 in the house, it said. So I took the thermostat down below that and got it, and then reset it to like 48. And the furnace started running and it ran for quite a while, but it did eventually shut off. What I was trying to do was making sure that it would go through an ignition cycle, um, so I knew it was putting out heat. We burn it, the furnace burns propane. We have a great big tank that they fill. It's probably the most we've probably ever used in a short period of time. Usually we get it filled um, once every 6 weeks from starting October, November, December, maybe twice in January, depending, and then back to the 6 weeks in February, March. Last fill usually is around the end of March. But we use that furnace was running and running and running, and wasn't real sure how much propane it was doing because it cycles out of a burn phase and just does a fan and then normally shuts off. And I was afraid that it was hitting that and not shutting off. So I started on the 48. I got it up to 48. Then I went to, I just went up by 5 degrees. And I have just set the thermostat to 69 before I came in here to stream. And that's about where we keep it generally in the winter, is around 69. Sometimes we'll push it up above 70, but we try not to. So, and like I said, the water froze in the line that fills the potty. What we do is we have to keep the water, we call it dripping, but it's like a real thin, steady stream of both hot and cold water. And yeah, so we had that going, both the bathroom and the kitchen. And hubby was really upset. He thought that it should not have frozen because we had that dripping. And it just, I'm not real sure why it did, but it did. So at that point in time, we had hot water, but no cold water. So I started doing what I've always done. When the water is dripping like that in the tub, in the bathtub, we have two dripping, the bathtub and the bathroom sink. When it's dripping like that, I put a bucket under it, right? And I catch the drips, and it fills that bucket up really pretty quick. And in the kitchen, I'll do the same thing. I have great big blue galvanized um, cooking containers, vessels. I like I will make applesauce in it. Cook all the apples or something like that. That was mainly what I used it for, was making applesauce. Or when I was canning tomatoes, cut the tomatoes all up, cook them, get them boiling, and then put them in the hot jars and put them in the um, canner and can them. So yeah, that's been around a part of my life for a long time, part of our country life, to have those big galvanized cooking vessels, pots. And I filled those. I would stick it in the sink and let it fill up as it was dripping. And I had a whole bunch. I had those two, another great big um, stock pot, and I filled up the electric teapot, and I filled up our coffee pot reservoir. Any place I thought I could put some water in, I did. And we kept that dripping from Friday evening on when it was so bad, or Friday morning on. Well, the upshot is I got up this morning. As I said, I thought that I was just going to have a nice lazy day. And the very first thing I always do is feed the cat. And then if there's any coffee left from yesterday, the day before, I'll nuke a cup and then make a fresh pot, right? But to get that first cup of coffee, a lot of times I'll just go ahead and nuke the cup of coffee. And I walked into the kitchen. I've, I went from the coffee pot over to where the microwave was. I had socks on, and I immediately had a soaking wet foot. And I was like, what? Plus, it was cold. And looked down, and I have a braided rug there. And I noticed coming off of that braided rug was a stream of water that was following the natural downhill path of my floor on the linoleum, heading towards about the point and stopping by the trim that we have carpet. We have outdoor carpeting in there, but so there's linoleum in part of it and outdoor carpeting in the other, and where that carpet ends, there's a trim thing that they put down to hold the carpet in place, and it was being pooling there. I was like, oh my, and hubby was not awake yet. I just I got my cup of coffee and I drank it and fed the cat, sat there for a few minutes debating. Do I just go back to bed and ignore this? Pretend it isn't there? Or do I wake hubby up and fill him in on what's happening? Because what I thought had happened was we have an ice maker, and it looked like it was coming from under the refrigerator, is where it looked like. And I thought, okay, there's a line that goes to the ice maker. Something happened to the line that goes to the ice maker, and it broke. I didn't, it wasn't, I couldn't hear water, but that would be enough water to do something like that, right? So I figured that's what it was. Well, I was totally wrong. Totally wrong. Because directly underneath the kitchen is what we call a cellar. It is not something we use. Okay, it would be in this old farmhouse. It would have been used for a root cellar, or what they call a fruit cellar or a root cellar or something like that. Right? It has some concrete on the floor. The walls are concrete. So it's not a true root cellar in that it's dug out of the ground. And it's directly underneath our back door mudroom, which leads into the kitchen. So it's underneath the kitchen too. It runs along the whole length of the one wall that they had then built a garage next to. So that's where it's at. And I don't know. I told hubby, I woke him up, and he got his clothes and shoes on and went he saw what was in the kitchen, and he says, I'm going to go look in the cellar. And he came back in and he says, it's just spraying like an open fire hydrant from some pipes that cross across that space, that's that root cellar space, on the ceiling. Okay, so that's the kitchen floor. So it was coming up somewhere, somehow, along that um, area where it was spraying. It was coming into the kitchen on the floor, and that's how everything got so wet. So he also said it's a couple feet deep in the cellar space, which actually happens normally in springtime. When we get a lot of rain, it'll come up as groundwater. I mean, this is why we don't use it, right? It's very common for it to fill up with water and then drain away, as the water flow just gets backed up when too much rain comes down, too much water comes down. But in this case, too much water came down because the pipes had frozen broke. So, not the first time that we've had frozen pipes in this area. Hubby has worked on it before, but we really weren't expecting it to happen. We were expecting if there was going to be any problem, it'd be against the house wall, like under the kitchen sink, right? Or against, like, what happened in the bathroom, where it's against an outside wall. We were pretty surprised that it happened down there. So, he says, okay, I gotta have, he says, we're gonna have to go get, he says, first thing I gotta do is turn off the water, and I have to do it up at the meter, at the thing, that the water company. So that's at the top of the lane. And then the water line runs all the way down the lane and into our house and all that, right? But the actual meter, which is underground now, they always have their meters underground. They run by with a radio and read the reading with a radio thing. But he says, I'm going to have to go turn the water off up there. He says, it's going to turn it off to the entire house. He says, because there's just no way to work on that, you know, without turning the water off. And I said, okay, I'll go fill some more containers, and we got a couple of big buckets that we put in the bathroom and filled and everything. And he says, I got to have my cup of coffee. He says, we'll go get pipe and stuff. But he says, give me a little bit. Now, see, this was it was 6:30 in the morning. I mean, it was early, right? And he was not moving fast. And I was patient. I wasn't pushing. I had this horrible thought of how much water was coming out, but it might have been my brain exaggerating it. He can say it's spewing, but it might not be a big waterfall kind of thing. So I never looked at it, to be honest with you. I never went and looked at it. So, like I said, my day of sitting and doing nothing today started out with having to drive him to Lowe's to get the pipe and stuff. And we did that, and the roads were okay, but I wasn't real sure. I was being cautious because I have to go up over a hill, and that sort of thing. So it was a little bit concerned as I was driving. And I didn't go in with him. I stayed in the car and kept the car running and everything, but he went and got everything he thought he'd need to replace the pipe. Before we did that, though, we did stop at the top of the lane. And this is the one thing that I was going to talk about was, there is a person inside of me who used to want to know how to do all this stuff, right? I felt very strongly that as a woman, I should be able to do things with tools. And I have lost that. I have no desire to do that anymore or to worry about it. Um, and so I was watching him and what he did. At the top of the lane, and the fact that you have to take a wrench and kind of turn a twisty handle kind of thing a number of times, like you're opening a safe, and then lift that lid off. And then I don't know how, it's down in the ground, so I don't know how he actually turned it off, but he did. He turned the house water off. Now, there is a turn-off valve for the house. It's in that cellar, and it's on the wall inside the cellar. So you would have to wade through all this water to go turn off the water, which is what he didn't want to do because he didn't have um, a way to stay dry, right? So we were talking about that too. And the one thing he said that he wanted to look into getting at either a sportsman's store or, you know, just in general was fishing waders, right? The great big boots that go way up to your hip, right? He wanted to see if he could get a pair of those local right away so that he could walk in the water in that. But in the meantime, since we were going to go and be gone for a whole bunch and we didn't want to keep the water running and running and running, he went ahead and turned it off. But the placement of that house shut-off is valid if your water disaster is any place other than that root cellar. But totally wrong if that's where your break is and it has flooded. So it was like, oh, can this just get any more complicated? So he got the water turned off at the meter, and in fact, it is still turned off. And we went into town, and he got the pipes that he wanted, the connections, and all that kind of stuff. And we were home by 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Not bad, not bad. And then, so everything's turned off, and I did have my short period of a couple hours of sitting, and he was also taking a break, right? And the reason was because it had started to snow. And so I had told him, I said, we'll go back. Oh, he wanted to go look for the waders. And I had done a lot of online looking, right? I looked at Amazon. No, couldn't get them for, the soonest we get is 4 days from today. Looked at Walmart, and got the message that that was not available at our local Walmart. This stuff is sticking to me, something terrible from static. My goodness. It's this velour top I have on. So, I searched for waders and was not finding anything local. So we were going to go back out to try and see if we could do that, but the snow was snowing, and I said, let's just wait a little bit. It's supposed to stop, it's not supposed to last long. Let's wait and see if it gets bad or not, right? And we'll go out after that. So we both were taking this break till about 3 o'clock this afternoon, and it did stop. It really didn't accumulate anything. If anything, the roads were better for being wet instead of unknown condition. Really, it was consistent. In other words, how they were. And with that period of time to sort of sit and mull and think a little bit, he finally said, we were talking about how it filled up before, and he used to have a sump pump there and would pump it out. And so we were like, oh, well, maybe we should just get a sump pump, and pump it out. So we changed our plans and decided we would go. He had to get some more couplers for the pipes. They only had so many at the one store, and he wanted to go to the another one of the same kind of store, another Lowe's, and get some more. So since we were going out for that, he said, let's go to Harbor Freight and get a sump pump. I was like, okay. And we did. And I'm coming up to the finale of this story because we got home. Let's see. I started my stream at 5, right? Or 4. No, 5, I think. We got home around 4:15 or something like that with the sump pump. And he went and he stuck his head into the cellarway. I went on into the house. He came into the house and he said, it's completely empty of water. It had drained. Because he turned the water off. It finally caught up. I mean, it finally wasn't, it wasn't keeping it filled, and so it had a chance to drain out, and it drained. We didn't think it would drain because the ground's frozen, and we really didn't think it would drain. But it did, so we didn't need the sump pump. So now, I said, I think we ought to keep the sump pump, even though you're not going to put it in place. I said, I think you ought to have one. We used to run them all the time, and what would happen is, that's being a concrete floor that gets real dirty and leaves get in there, and, even though the door's closed, I mean, it just, things float around in the water and they get in the sump pump, and that makes it stop, right? It gets all clogged up and has to be cleaned out, and it's a pain. So that's why we sort of gave up trying to keep it dried out. But it's dried out. It's not dried out, but there's no standing water. So he's working on it right now. I have no idea how long it'll be. It's going to be not as long as I think, though. I think he'll get it hooked up pretty quick. Really, considering that was this morning I got up and we found out about it. It's the same day. I figured it might take him till tomorrow afternoon or something, but I don't know. Who knows? Depends on what you run into. When you work on old houses, sometimes, I'll tell you, you think it's going to be a piece of cake, easy job, and things just keep happening that make you do more and more and more. So I have a very messy kitchen. It has all the cooking that I did Sunday morning before Christmas. I did not clean up. I didn't have time. I barely got my clothes changed, and by the time it was time for us to leave, it took me all morning to be able to get the stuff cooked I wanted to cook to take everywhere. So my kitchen is just full of dishes, and I can't do them right now. Yeah, but I will. It'll happen. This is the story of living in a 120-year-old house, and I am guessing on the date. The original 4 rooms were definitely 100 years ago. And lot has been built on since then, so they're not as old, but it doesn't matter. There is a lot of age to this house, and things wear out. Definitely wear out. What a story, huh? Oh my goodness. I noticed the peace lilies behind me need a drink. I'm like, can you wait? Can you wait 24 hours? Their leaves are starting to droop. I'm pretty sure all the plants need watered, unfortunately. Uh-oh. Come back. Did it fall on the floor? No. My sister-in-law has a new puppy. It's a Haverson? Have Oh, it starts with an H. But oh my gosh, it's adorable. Little puppy. And it was so excited to see you, and you hold it, and of course it does all the licking and wiggles, and it's soft as soft can be, and it go from one person to another person, and then it just like drop and fall asleep. Just like a baby, it is a baby. It's very young, but um it was so cute. I really, really enjoyed that. Havanese. Havanese. That's the name of it. So cute. And it's chocolate brown. So, it's a beautiful color. Curly fur. It was so cute. Makes me want to be a dog person. And I am not a dog person. It's sort of like being a grandparent, right? Get to play with the grandkids and then send them home. I could play with the puppy and then leave. I don't have a specific schedule for these 12 days. I should try to do that, but I'm telling you, it's the way things go. Is if I would say I'm going to be on at 1 o'clock, we sure as shooting going to be going to get something that, you know, is necessary right at that moment. So I'm going to let it hang open. My normal schedule is Tuesday morning, Thursday night, and Sunday afternoon, and I'm going to do those for sure. The rest I will just put in as I have time. I probably will aim for mostly after 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to catch people that are, those that are working, give them an opportunity maybe to catch it later. That also gives us the opportunity if we are doing something and then I get home, I can do it in the evening, 6 or 7, something like that. So, yeah, it's going to be a hang loose kind of thing and hopefully not a problem, and I can hopefully get all 12 days in. I'm going to take a break from the crafting and kind of regroup on that and try to figure out which is a higher prior which is a priority to get done. I pushed so hard to get that Afghan done. Uh, so, you know, I don't have things at hand right now. Need to get that laid out. So I'm going to take a little break from crafting on Tuesdays and just spin for the 12 days. Like tomorrow, I'm pretty sure he'll have the water unless he runs into problems, but I'll have to be doing a lot of dishes. But I'll stream in the morning tomorrow, and I'll have the rest of the day to do that kind of stuff. Hubby went to the grocery store and bought 5 gallons of drinking water. Probably don't. It the containers are okay, but that we have them in. But it's good to have some good drinking water, and we'll put it in the coffee pot, to make the coffee and stuff like that. We do that all the time down at my mom's because her water tastes terrible. Whatever treatment they have for it down there in Florida in her area, we just don't like the taste at all. So we buy water down there all the time. Seems funny to buy water, doesn't it? But it is. It is definitely tastes better. My daughter got me a grow system, It has a light. It has a way that the roots, it's hydroponic. The roots go into water where you have uh, little pods that you can buy the pods and they'll have fertilizer in them. She bought me um, pods for petunias. I said, I thought you had to grow vegetables. She says, no, you get to grow flowers. I was nice. But that was my Christmas present from her. All right, little stretch break here. I have a blanket over me, but I can feel a draft around my legs. Got my nice warm boots on because it's snowing. And it feels wonderful to have boots on when you're walking through the snow instead of shoes. Oh, yeah. Excuse me, like I said, I haven't been sleeping well. Got up way too early. I cannot tell if there's a. It's not a grain, but they say if you run your hands over, and I don't know if it's top or roving, to be honest with you. I always thought it was roving, but I was just trying it on this. I could not feel any kind of direction. They say one will feel rougher than the other way, but I can't feel anything on this. I was thinking, well, maybe I'm spinning this against the grain. I think on Friday and Saturday, if I said it once, I must have said it a dozen times. This is so unacceptable. You know, you can't do a thing about the weather, but you can kind of have a little bit of control over where you live. I mean, I understand circumstances. We like it here. We choose to stay here. Therefore, whatever happens is all part of that. But it became ridiculous when you don't even want any part of your face or anything exposed in the house. So, I am not the only person this happened to. I do know that. It's across the whole country. Oh, got a stiff neck. Hmm. I hadn't really looked. Oh, well, I have the choice of getting my hands or getting the bobbin in there. I'll go with my hands tonight. Well, hello. You both popped up at the same time. And I got a little sound alert. That's unusual. Hi, AMA. Have not seen you for a good long time. Welcome. And Kay, welcome. I hope you are both doing okay after the holidays. And you missed all of my story about my day today, so go catch the first part of this once I'm done. Just the first 45 minutes or so. But the bottom line is, hubby is in the process of replacing water pipes. From frozen pipes breaking and, spewing water. As with many of the home repair projects, we drove into the uh, big home supply store twice. you know, First we need this, then we need this. He needs, not me. I'm just the driver. Let's just say, at least I didn't have to cook today. Lots of leftovers. I cooked on Saturday some and Sunday morning before we left the house. And we were gone almost all day. We got home at 11 p.m. So, yeah. Amy says Christmas was good, but food getting overcooked and burnt. Oh, no. No. Somebody stole some presents. Oh, my goodness. Well, I did the senior citizen thing. I fill Christmas stockings for my daughter, son-in-law, and my grandson. And I had put all the gifts that I had wrapped in the stocking ahead of time. These had to go with us to their house yesterday. And I totally forgot to put candy. I always put candy in the stockings. Always. And I completely forgot. I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, I'll bring your candy later, but it's just not the same. I felt so bad. But it's kind of their tradition that, they get what I give them in the stocking and everybody gets their own, right? Nobody shares because it's their candy. Right. So, anyway, not sure when I'll get that to him. I told hubby, I said, I hope that wasn't me, my subconscious saying, I want all the candy. because I don't need it. Electrical issues causing problems with the Christmas lights on other decorations. You have bad weather, um, which is what is causing all of our problems. It's better now. It was real bad Friday and Saturday. We were so lucky. We did not lose our electric. A lot of people did, and it just was super lucky that we didn't. Because we heat with propane, but it has to have electric in order to go through the ignition burning cycle, and the blower that puts the heat out of the furnace is electric. So you have to have electric. We have snow. Okay, we have snow. Got a little more today. It'll be gone in a couple days because it's going to warm up to 60, I think, by the end of the week, by Friday. Which is just crazy. Isn't that crazy? So, huh. What happened here? I gotta go find some more music. Uh, yeah, this is it. There we go. You'll be in the 40s by the end of the week. You're looking forward to it. Uh huh. You have been in the negatives most of the week, too. Yeah. Yep. It's winter. It's been quite a winter. So I'm starting my 12 days of Christmas. It'll go through uh, a week from this Friday. I think it's, let's see, I figured it up somewhere, but I forget where I put it. Huh. Anyway, it'll go through like the 6th of January or something like that. And I'm going to stream every day. I don't know exactly the times. My normal days that I stream, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays will be my normal times. But the rest will probably be late afternoon, early evening. That way, if we have things to do, we can get that done. And hopefully I can catch more people that are not working. You know, that they won't be working at those hours. Uh-oh. Yeah, that is not English. You look like you're talking to a computer. Did you translate into computer text, computer code. Do they have that? I don't really know. You are a bot. Beep beep. No, you're not. You are a welcome one. I will not ban that. You working or do you get a vacation time during the holidays? Uh, AMA. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, yeah. Yes, you have that. Okay. You can translate into X's. Well, no, I was going to say X's and O's, but it's pluses and minuses or anyway, yeah. Computer language. Whatever. I realize there's many kinds. And I don't know anything else other than that. I don't know anything about programming at all. So you got 5 weeks a year. Okay.
There is no limit to the
0 and
places
1.
this dream
That's
can
it.
take you.
0 and 1.
They just need someone to drive. Porsche, driven by dreams.
Oh, it's not letting me skip the ads. Sorry. There we go. Now I can. I think I might have hit one that has a lot of ads in it. I might have to change it. Well, like here, my grandson who is in school has um, like 1.5 weeks off. The week between Christmas and New Year's, and a day or two before Christmas. I think maybe a day or two after New Year's. They always take a winter break. Well, he's just quite. He's not quite at the age where he can be at home by himself, and so his parents have kind of alternated who takes off each year during that time. So one of the parents are home with him during his winter break. My daughter's off this year. You use text-based programs that turn it into 0 and 1. That's, yeah, right. I mean, so long ago, I took a little bit of it as one college class. And I was married at that later then uh, for quite a few years to a computer programmer. But that didn't mean any of it rubbed off, and I really wasn't that interested. I wanted to be able to do what I wanted to do with the computer. Right, I'm a computer user, but not like program it to make it do what I want to do. I want just to buy it or be able to, buy the computer and do what I want to do. Right. So It's just kind of all foreign to me. I am getting very close to being done with this that I want to spin tonight, which is good. You have so little time this winter, so probably still have a probably I still have a hangover when you start to work on the second. Oh, what is your favorite drink? Are you fond of beer? I am not. I am fond of scotch. I'm learning to like some bourbons because I live in a state in the United States that produces a lot of bourbon. So you kind of, it's everywhere here where I live, right? Kind of can't get away from it. And I'm fond of wines too. I'm more fond of wines than I am beer. Got fluff in my mouth somehow. Must have inhaled it.
Even though it's a risk and I don't know what's on the other side, I'm going to make a bet on myself. I guess I'm kind of looking at this as a sort of rebirth opportunity.
Okay, I have to change. They have put an ad in every other song. That's not what I want. All right, let's see here. I got to play with a Havanese puppy yesterday. He was so cute. He was so little. He was young. And he was just because there were a lot of people where I was, at the house where he lives now, and a lot of people there. He was just so excited because he wanted to be with everybody at the same time, right? and and he would just go and go and go and go, and then all of a sudden he would drop down, or if he was up on the couch or something like that, he would just flop down and he'd fall right asleep. It was like a human baby, where you see him fall asleep in the high chair and stuff like that. He was adorable, so cute, chocolate brown, curly hair. So they call him Hershey. I am not a dog person. I'm a cat person, and I I have no real desire to have a dog, but I do enjoy some attributes of dogs, and especially ones that are somebody else's dog, but they're very companionable, right? They're very friendly or whatever. I enjoy that and interacting with them. Now, my daughter has a cat, and his name is Tito, and he was in the foulest mood yesterday when we were at my daughter's house. He would hide in these nooks and crannies, and you walk by him, and he would just like "Ow," and slash out like heading for your legs with his paw. He was not happy with how many people were in the house. I think that was what it was. It was just like, go away. Oh man. And he's a loving cat to his family, right? My daughter and my grandson. Sleeps with my grandson, but didn't like the company. Yeah, I'm gonna do some drinking after I get done streaming tonight. I thought about getting one to have, but I haven't eaten. I want to eat supper first and then have a evening nightcap. But I, they were drinking um, because the hubby's sister-in-law, brother-in-law, sister and brother-in-law were not. They were home. They weren't going anywhere. We were the only ones, and I was the one driving. So there it is, right there. I was good. I was driving, and hubby enjoyed himself and had drinks with him, and I didn't. So, what up here, AMA? A woman of grace and poise, spinning tales with elegance, her voice a sweet joy. From ancient legends to modern tales of love, she weaves her stories with care, like a gift from above in her world. And anything is possible, no limits or bounds. Pirates and princesses, magic and wonders abound. You are a writer, AMA. What sweet words. She spins her yarns, yes, and the yarns can mean tales, right? She spins her yarns with skill and art, captivating her listenings, capturing their hearts. Yarn Spinner's Tale is a true mistress of her craft. Her stories will leave you longing for more long after the last. So listen closely, dear friends, to the tales that she tells you. You won't be disappointed. Her magic never fails. Well, AMA, thank you. That is amazing words, and I do appreciate that. I really do. I don't have many viewers. I have people who come and go. I've had many people who come and go, but not regulars, right? Just like you. I mean, everybody has their own, what am I trying to say? They have their own um, schedule, life, and that sort of thing. And you can't always um, guess. You can't always have them there every day. So I am pinning your messages. I do appreciate that very much. Uh, I think that's going to leave it sit right there um, at the top. I think. I think that's what pinning does. I'm not sure. But what sweet words. Thank you. I do appreciate that. Well, about to the end of my 2 hours here. And it is supper time here for us. Oh, the other thing I was talking about, the really bad weather, and we did not lose our electric, but we did lose our internet um, for almost 24 hours on Friday. No, Saturday. It was on Saturday. It came back, I don't know, maybe about 6 p.m. or something like that, but it was like, well, I'm glad I'm not streaming today. Hadn't planned to anyway, since it was Christmas Eve, but I'm sure it was the weather. Um, it was really, really, really windy. I believe it's quite possible that the wind took down a line somewhere for our service. Man, I tell you, I miss internet if I don't have it. And our cell phone service, it's not like I can just switch over to use the cell phone service because of where I live. My cell phone service goes through the internet. So if I lose my internet, I don't have either internet or cell phone service. I do have a landline, which means I can call and get help if I need it, and fortunately never do, but yeah, it's why I never do get rid of my landline, because cell phones don't work well where I live. Success is not a destination, it's a journey. And I absolutely agree with you with that. It's the culmination of all the small victories and setbacks you experience along the way. That is a life, is not, that is a definition of a life. Okay, this did not spin well. Let me put a little more twist in this. I'm not sure why, but it didn't have enough twist. I think what's on this bobbin is going to be enough for plying the 2 bobbins that I want to ply with it. Find out, but if I have to get more of this fiber from where it's stored, I can to add to it. But we're going to go ahead and ply this. Uh, hmm, Probably not tomorrow. Maybe Wednesday. Tomorrow I think I want to work on my Advent fiber. I'm very close to having it all done too, although I will not finish it tomorrow. Look in this. Oh man, I have so much stuck to me. I'll have to roll it off. Let's hear it for Static Cling. Doesn't even want to come off my hands. It's so dry. When it's cold like this, it gets so dry. Alright, this is it. This is the end of this. And that is working out just about right, because I got 5 minutes left for my 2 hours. That worked out real good. I like it when I get to the end of a given fiber that I have plans for. Sometimes I don't like it when I run out of fiber because the fiber is, oh, it's so pretty, or it spins so well, or I like the kind of yarn that it's making, right? I wish I just had lots more, but in this particular case, I am spinning this for a specific reason, so I am glad to have that reason that accomplished. music sounds very oriental, doesn't it? Good grief. Um, don't mind it. I'm just glad it's not full of ads. Yay. All done. Whoop. More fiber. Stuck to me. So I am going to say adieu, and I'll be back tomorrow. It will be early. It'll be early. My time, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. is my normal time to stream on Tuesdays. So, yeah, sometimes there are people that can catch me then, and sometimes there's not. I want to say thank you to everybody that stopped by and chatted, and I particularly appreciate, even though AMA, you are probably gone, I don't think you're still here, but I appreciate the great and wonderful. Oh, there you are. Hi. Bye. I really appreciate your words. Thank you. And again, thank you. So, AMA, have a good sleep, have a good rest, stay safe and healthy, and have a good week. And I'll catch you when you get back sometime. All right, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye.